Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 518 at scavengerlife.com.
Today we're going to talk about Ryan's favorite topic.
Yeah.
You don't even know it.
I don't know what that would be.
My bad mood this week.
My favorite topic. Not just my favorite topic, but a topic I've been experiencing for a week. Jay's bad mood.
You love to keep bringing it up, but...
Because I have to deal with it.
Let's talk about it. What was it like?
What was it like?
Because you kept telling me it's very hard to be around you.
Yeah, because I'm like, first of all, we run all our businesses together. We live in the same house.
Drive in the same car.
Drive in the same car when we have to go places. We do have separate cars right now, but still. So you're just like, when you're around someone, you always have to be around someone who's just like, doesn't want to talk. When they do talk, they're mad. Not at you, just in general. And you're like, oh my God.
So let's go with my voice. So like, how am I talking? How am I angry?
Oh God. Usually when
I don't want to. Don't talk to me.
Yeah, that's exactly. I don't want to do that right now. Hey Jay, we need to fold a mountain of laundry for our rentals that have to go out today. I don't want to do that right now. Okay, it needs to get done soon. I'm just going to do it by myself. That's what happened many times this week.
And you did a good job. I'm glad we both weren't in a bad mood.
Although you had lots of other things to do. That's mostly why I'm like, I'll just do this myself.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Because I think, as far as when you work with, especially if you work with your significant other, but even if you work with just any person.
Other human
being. Here's my thing. So the reason why I was in a bad mood was simply because, and it's not unexpected, we're opening up this new coffee shop. We're 6 weeks in to it actually, like the doors opening.
Yeah. And
it's a lot, and it's a change in our schedule. And like, I like our life, We talk about it, waking up without an alarm clock. And there's been a little bit of alarm clocky stuff happening. And, our partners are really they're the bosses of the day-to-day.
Yeah, at the cafe.
Hiring staff, they're doing it. So totally not taking away from anything they're doing. They're handling all that. We're support staff kind of like in the background or getting calls if there's something wrong and having to do it. And I just feel like I'm just being pulled in a million different directions and not having any time to like... any downtime
and so it's not even like there's no downtime from the cafe. There's just no downtime from anything we're doing. Like Airbnb is full tilt. Like the laundry piles up if you don't do it, and then you have to fold it all and get it back out because 2 days later these people are all leaving. You know?
Because we have like 9 bedrooms over 3 rentals, so and
with
those
all
are being
the towels
every other day,
it's crazy.
But let alone eBay, and really eBay is mainly all you these days.
Yeah,
I mean we're eating off of our big inventory, so like I'm not buying anything.
No, we have so much inventory that's listed and unlisted.
So I mean that's kind of it. It's more just like and people are like, well, why would you open up like a brick and mortar store if the whole point is to have like an online store where you don't have to do all this stuff? And I love it. I love our cafe,
but it's a cafe. It's not an antique store. It's like a proper.
I love what we're doing, and I mean I already see it. Like after 6 weeks, we together with our partners have developed a system.
Yep.
Things still have to get like tightened up and improved and all of these things, but it's happening. And whereas this week I don't know, I just kind of was not reacting to it well. It was an easier week than it was his first couple weeks we opened when I was waking up every day at whatever it was 6 o'clock and jump right in the truck and go and do stuff and, like I love my mornings. Ryan,
I think we're realizing now Jay needs a little bit of time to drink coffee and let the caffeine kick in.
Like today, I always wake up earlier. Not always, but I often wake up earlier than you because I love having an hour to myself.
Yeah, just
on my
quiet.
computer, drinking coffee, get to just like relax, and then the day can start.
Then the day can start.
I don't do well, and I remember this when I had jobs. I do not do well when I like wake up, get on my clothes, go to work.
Yeah.
And then it's a whole. I think that was a thing. Like we would go to the roaster building to roast and bag coffee.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, I'm not ready yet, but we've got to start. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be like all day long.
Yeah, like you're not leaving till...
Like, this isn't like a 1 hour thing.
Yeah,
this is like we're here all day till the evening.
We have to do this. It has to get finished today,
With a lot of jobs. So,
yeah.
All right, fine. So how do you deal with a partner in a bad mood? Just be clear, it was me in a bad mood this week. Sometimes that's the other way around. I mean,
well, look, that's why I give you space, because I'm like, there are times where I'm just like, there's like things I don't want to do, but I have to do, and I'm the only one that can do them, and they have to get done in a certain amount of time, and it makes me grumpy, So yeah, like I've been that person many times before.
So this is the way I deal with it when you're in a bad mood. But I can also see it when I'm in a bad mood.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Like it's good to get the person to admit I'm in a bad mood, or at least it is for me.
I feel like you wouldn't admit it. Like there were times where I'd be like, "What is up with you?" And you're like, and you go like this, "What's up with you?" And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm like doing laundry.
So I was not there were times where I was not acknowledging it, but the healthy way of doing it is to eventually acknowledge it. I'm in a bad mood.
Right.
But then to know when to give the person space.
Right.
You sometimes are good at that, sometimes you aren't with me. But this week, you were good. You're okay. He's in a bad mood. Give him some space. Because for me, I just need some time to like process.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like in a bad mood. I just, it's not a flip of the switch. I don't get out of it quickly. I have to like process it and get out of it. But then to eventually talk about it. And like after a couple of days, we took a long walk like we do. And I could finally kind of just talk about all the things that were bugging me.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think, it's hard with a new business like this where like, you're working, it's not just you and me figuring it out. It's like we're working with other people that have expectations for us, which makes sense because you're like, we're the other owners. Right. But at the same time, there are times where we're like, well, I don't want to do that today, but that's my schedule. And normally...
And people are depending on me to
I need to roast 160 pounds of coffee. Do it right.
Yeah.
Get it, you and me together. Get it to the customers in whichever way needs.
Right. We can't put this off.
I can't be like, I don't really want to do this today.
But I think the other thing too is for us is like we've said it before, not having resentments towards each other.
Yeah.
And I can feel that. Like when I'm in the middle of a bad mood like that, I can see like, oh, I could just make this a long-term problem.
Yeah.
Like
which some people do.
Long-term resentment. I remember my parents were like that. I just remember it just there were things that would happen and then it would just become a problem, unsaid problem for a long
Forever.
time. Like it just became like part of the stratification of like the house's unhappiness, because they just didn't know how to talk about whatever they needed to. So not having resentments, like right now, I don't have any resentments against you.
You better not.
I hope you don't against me. But I think hand in hand with that is respect,
Yeah.
Like I respect you and what you do. I don't think like, oh, Ryan doesn't know, and I don't want you to feel like that's me. Like, oh, Jay doesn't know how to roast coffee, so like whatever. He's not, he's not cool like me.
Yeah. If you want to roast coffee, I will hand it over to you in a second.
Jay doesn't know how to pack eBay, so he's not like a real person.
Yeah, right.
I can do things too.
Yep.
And the other thing too is just sometimes time just takes time, you know.
Yeah, it just takes time to get out of that mood. Or you know, after we had the conversation we had was just like a perspective conversation where you're like, this is how I feel about this. Here's another perspective, you know, from the other side of things, or like thinking about it in 3 different ways, or, you know, the way you were feeling was kind of the way I was feeling a couple of weeks ago, because there were just certain things that were out of my control that I'm like, I have to do it this way, but I think it would be better if we did it this way. But like, I can't convince the rest of you. So it's just sort of like, I'm just going to go with what's happening, you know? So, you know, there's all those things, and you just have to like be okay with it, you know?
Well, so, I mean, also it's just, you know, it gave me an opportunity to tell you what I needed, like what would help is that if you could do X, Y, Z, you know, like when I'm bagging coffee, if you could help me seal the bag.
Right. It goes faster like, you know, we could do it like this.
So that's helpful, because I think sometimes what's not helpful is when one of us wants the other person to not be in a bad mood, like in an instant, like stop being in a bad mood right
stop
now.
It. Let's go.
It's a kind of it's like when I'm in a bad mood, it's like I'm in a plane up above. I can't just like land. It takes a while. I need a runway, and then I'm okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that was.
I don't think you get in a bad mood very often.
Yeah.
You get what's the word? You get impatient with things. Like, I want this thing to happen right now. And you're like, come on, let's do this. This is good. You know, just in general. And I'll just be like, dude, chill, you know? But
you're being aggressive.
Yeah. And I'm like that too sometimes. I mean, there are things where I'm like, come on, this thing should have already been done. Right. It's got to be done. And everyone else is like, dude, it takes time, you know? Right. We got to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
But in terms of bad mood, not really.
Yeah, I really... I hope that I'm glad you said that. I try not to be.
Yeah, like I don't think of you as someone who's like, oh, he's always in a bad mood.
I don't usually get in a bad mood because I hate feeling that way.
Yeah.
Like I get like an emotional hangover, you know, from being that way.
Yeah, so you try hard to prevent it.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of stuff going on, so it's kind of like inevitable to just be like.
But like, for instance, you know, it's a Sunday today, right?
Yeah,
and we're like the afternoon shift at the cafe where we come in when we close and we go and we fill up the shelves and we fill up the cooler.
And we help clean.
Yeah. You know, I go and I fill up our milk. We have a whole fridge where, you know, I buy 24 gallons of milk for the week.
Make sure that's all filled. Pars.
I got a call from our partner who was like, someone didn't show up. Can you come in and help? Because Sunday's our busiest day because we're the only place open on our main street. Yeah. So it's great. It's good for business. Yeah. So, you know, and I'm great at cleaning. Like that's my wheelhouse. Like just get me to clean. So I'm like, come and do dishes.
Phil said, we need a dishwasher. And I was like, oh, Jay is literally the most perfect person to be like cleaning dishes, putting stuff in the dishwasher, polishing all the silverware. I'm like, go for it.
Yeah, because I just like to put my head down and just kind of turn my mind off and do it. Although I thought he meant like we need to buy a
dishwasher. We have a dishwasher. We thought the dishwasher.
And these are like not like your home one. This is a commercial one where, you know, it cleans it in like a minute and a half, and they're like $3,000. So, but I'm like, that's fine. So I go in there and it's great. I always encourage you to just take your computer and go and hang out in the cafe. It is so fun to sit there and just see a busy cafe, people coming in and out. Yep. Our partners in our team are like making food and making coffees, and people are complimenting it.
Well, I think the greatest part, like you said, is when people are done with their coffee or their food, they'll come up to the bar and talk to the staff and be like, that was great.
Right.
I am so glad you guys are here. Just instead of just bye, leaving, people are saying that stuff and you're like, they genuinely mean it. It's such a great feeling. So
I always remember that when we are working extra hard these times, that there's a payoff, and, it will become a less and less. I know it will, because we're talking with our partners about how to keep taking ourselves out of the equation, like the day-to-day, by hiring people and training.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about eBay. We do have an eBay store. It's great. We started this eBay store in 2008.
Oh, my goodness.
Seems like a lifetime ago.
It does.
We did it during the last, crash.
Crash, yeah.
And so, maybe right now, there are people starting new businesses during this crash that will then, help you in the next one.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So, we've been selling for 12-ish years now, and this is kind of been in semi-passive business at this point.
Right now. It's kind of on autopilot.
We have 7,476 items.
Okay.
We basically have a warehouse behind our house full of these items that we have photographed and listed on the internet.
Yeah.
The most random items you can imagine.
I'm not, the thing, I actually sold something on Bonanza today, because I have my store across posted, and I was like, that it was like a capacitor and wires for a very specific dehumidifier.
Right.
What?
Yep.
That's my life.
So, and now all that work has been put in. We spent money building this warehouse. We spent money and time putting all these things on the internet, and now things just sell. So this week we sold 33 of those items.
Pretty good.
Our gross sales, $1,679. That's including eBay fees, shipping, and taxes. Minus all of that, money in our pocket, $1,277.77.
We had a really high dollar sale this week that I thought would push our numbers way up higher, but I guess it didn't.
Well, instead that what really saved our week. But if you think about it, if you're making $1,000 a week, you're making $4,000 a month, and you're making $48,000 a year. So this business is a one of us having,
and that's net. That's not gross.
A pretty decent middle class job.
That's pretty
in the U.S. of A.
And like we said, it's kind of passive at this point. I mean, I listed a couple things yesterday just as I was in between things I was doing, and I have 170 unlisted items in scheduled drafts. So I'm still just working through them. But those things sell. I'll list stuff and it'll be somebody wanted that, random.
Because we have a folder full of stuff that's been photographed and are in draft or schedule. Yeah. So it's just a matter of
just titles
and item specifics and pricing it. So, and the good thing is, and I just have to remember that from comparing it to our coffee business where, if our net profit can be 60%, we are super happy. Yeah. This is, I'm making almost $1,300 and our cost of items are $40.
Yeah, it's not even worth mentioning the cost.
It may be $150 worth of, $100 worth of paying someone to photograph this stuff. It's about $2 an item. So, it's just, it's nice.
Yeah, so let's talk about that big dollar item. This is a funny item.
So we were in New York City. We go every year, except last year.
Last year we didn't go.
House sit for a friend, and we love to find stuff on the street. We love to take walks because walking in Manhattan's so fun and enjoyable because it's free and you can see things.
We do that a lot.
And we learn what streets are putting the trash out.
Because you can see it just right out on the street.
And so around NYU... Right. I guess kids were moving out of their apartments, and I found a pile of garbage of some kid that I guess probably didn't plan his life well. It was I got to get out tonight. Yeah. And he just dumped everything on the corner. And I remember I ran back to the apartment where we were staying. Yeah. I was like, Ryan, you got to come.
You got to come.
And it was starting
to rain.
It
was rainy.
We even have like a granny cart.
Yeah.
And one of the things was a box of video games.
Yep. There was an Xbox of whatever, the original Xbox. Right. It was like the Gen 1 or whatever.
And these are older Xbox games. So anyway, to the point, a 65 older Xbox games. We've had them up for over 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think you had them up for like
$700.
Yeah. And we would get like $100 offers. And I'm like, Ryan, just take it.
Last week we got a $100 offer.
I'm like,
and you were like, the next $100 offer on this thing, will you please take it?
So we got an offer for $515 and we took it immediately and we're like, they're not going to pay.
They paid. I shipped it.
And I'm like, wow, what a deal. $500 trash sale.
It was raining out.
But it did take 2 years.
It did take 2 years. I sold the Xbox. There was a bunch of little like electronics things in there that I tested that worked. Basically like not newer electronics, like probably like 3 or 4 years old. Like basically he moved in with all this stuff and he just chucked it when he moved out of college, you know.
Like he bought them when he was a freshman.
Yeah. And he's like, well, this is worthless. And I'm like, not to me. I'm going to sell it.
I was trying to figure out why would someone pay almost $10 for an old game, but I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know.
That's a lot of gameplay.
I'm just glad that they gave us that offer because that is a great sale. I really hope they don't return it.
We sold a, fun thing like an antique or vintage toolbox. I mean, it's that metal one.
Yeah, it's like a metal.
These are pretty common kind of to find in auction lots.
They're like a tackle box or a toolbox.
You know, they're steel, they're painted, they'll often have like a cool sticker on them. The thing is, they don't sell very quickly, and oftentimes you can't do too well, but this one sold for $80. And I looked at the person's like thing, and he buys, just one of these guys that likes old stuff.
Yeah.
He's probably going to buy it and fix it up and put his tools in it.
That's a cool one. Yeah. I always love old boxes like that, like old tackle boxes.
And again, out of 33 items, we sold 9 of them were clothing items. So,
oh man, I just pulled everything that I'm going to ship for tomorrow morning, and it was like a hat, a shirt, another shirt,
a tie.
Yeah, like it just, I don't know, it's random. I sold a winter jacket to someone in Hawaii. Was that last week or this week? It was the Scotch and soda one.
That was a week ago.
Oh, okay, sorry. That was a good. That was $100. I think it was $100 because it's like a pretty.
It was nice.
It's a pretty good.
Scotch and soda.
Is that the brand? Yeah, it's from Amsterdam actually.
Yeah,
those are like high dollar items.
Yeah. But clothing does sell. Customer issues. So people in the forum have been talking about global shipping program and the people getting the item and then how to handle it if the person says there's a problem. So here's an example. We shipped some like saucers and cups.
Yeah, teacups and saucers.
Where were they?
In Canada.
Canada. Okay, so I guess that is global.
It goes through like global shipping.
They complained and said they were broken.
Right.
With hairline cracks.
Although the hairline cracks were described in the listing, but okay.
So he or she opened up a case and said, I want my money back. And eBay sent something saying like, well, because it broke, it's your fault.
That's not exactly what they said. So this person in global shipping, I got a message from them that they opened a case and I sent it to eBay email. It's like merchant support. And they were like, they said something to the effect of, because they said you didn't pack it well and they didn't provide photos of the damage, we're not going to cover it. And I wrote back and I was like, oh no, that is actually not the rule. And I wrote to the buyer and I was like, you need to provide photos of the damage because eBay's not going to cover this otherwise. So they did provide it in messages. They provided way too many photos of like the damage I already described in the list. I'm like, this person. And then I wrote to eBay again and was like, basically I ignored their last message and I was like, I should have just called, but I think it's sometimes faster.
So It was all done through email.
It's through email, yeah. So I'm not on the Anchor store, so I actually don't know if I can call Anchor support anymore. I guess I could try. But so I just did the merchant support, which I think is also just Anchor support too, but whatever. I was like, this person is a global shipping program buyer. They provided photos of the damage in messages. Please close this case. Right. And they did.
Right. Because, I mean,
that's the deal.
Because that's the thing with global shipping, that there's insurance on every item.
Yeah.
So
through
that's
eBay.
Just part of their business.
Yeah.
And that's why we like it, because I guess in this case, you had to jump through a couple hoops, but because you know how it works.
Yeah,
they paid, the buyer got made whole.
Right.
Oh, we got to
keep the money.
Insurance paid for it. It's fine.
It was good. I mean, eventually they were good about it, and I guess the lesson there is to make sure your buyer does upload photos, because it does help to be like, yep, it's cracked, it's broken, whatever.
I guess to me that what I saw was, other sellers complain about this. They're like, but eBay told me this. For me, the first thing eBay says is, it's not our problem. Like, that's just their default.
Sometimes, yeah.
And so don't ever take the first thing they say as like the gospel.
Right.
Because it's normally either automated or it's just some low-level person whose job it is to, like, not our problem.
Yeah.
So then it takes someone that understands what the rules are to then talk to, and I guess it probably goes to someone that understands the program better.
Yeah, so that was kind of annoying. I thought at first, oh no, they've like changed it. Just for example, and people have talked about this basically all of this year, where the post office, for some claims, if you're like, this got damaged, I have photos of the damage, and they're like, nope, you have to bring the actual item to the post office. I'm like, but the customer has the item. Like, I didn't have them mail back a broken, the thing that broke was a wind chime. It was a ceramic wind chime. I'm like, how is this even a thing? Like, it's going to break in the wind. So anyway, it broke on the way there. So that's kind of not a good sign. But, yeah, the post office, I refunded them, and I was just like, I just chalked it up to like, I should have known this thing was going to break. It's a ceramic wind chime that makes literal no sense. Yeah. But whatever. So I refunded them, and it was priority mail, so I tried to get a refund from the post office, but they were like, you have to provide the original packaging, which if someone returned it, you wouldn't have the original packaging anyway. Yeah, so I thought eBay was going to do something similar, where they're like, you have to pay for them to send this back to you, and then like send it to us, something like that.
Yeah, I noticed that it's very arbitrary that some post offices or some USPSs will demand a lot of proof before they even consider it, and then other times it's just like, here's a check.
Payout. Now the checks that I've gotten in the last year, basically, have been of items where the tracking just stops. If after, I think it's 14 days, on the 15th day, if you're like, this is gone, there is no tracking. I had a piece of artwork, it was a framed poster that was going from Virginia here to Tennessee. Not very far, right? It left Richmond, Virginia, and the tracking just stopped for an entire month. I'm like, where did this thing go? It's not that big, right? Where was this thing? So I think we might have talked about this. My customer was an eBay seller, like not as big as us.
And he or she was totally cool.
He was like, I know that this has been happening and it's happened to me too, so let's just wait it out. But he said it was like the day before the 30th day. He was like,
I've got to.
Yeah, he's like, I've got to open a case because I need to get my money back. And I said, no problem.
Right.
I said, I opened a research case, and then I said I opened a claim to get the money back because it's clearly lost. It's been over a month. There's no tracking, right? So I refunded him, and then I wrote to, I did a claim on USPS, and they actually sent me a check about a week later. It was $75. So I'm like, yeah, I want my money back, right? Then 2 days later, because I have an email tracking update on the thing.
He got it.
Yeah. But both him and I, like, I wrote to him and I was like, I cannot believe you actually got this. Right. I thought for sure it was lost. And he wrote back and he was like, can you even believe that just... But he got money and I got money. Like, he knew that I...
But, I mean, that's... you don't want the post office to lose money like that. But if they're going to have a problem where something's like a month overdue,
that box was sitting in Richmond for a month. Yeah. Why was it? You're like, that's just very poor service. Although I do. So, side note for all the shipping nerds, if you sell on eBay, you are probably a shipping nerd. I have noticed. I have started to ship things UPS ground and FedEx ground / FedEx home, because there are certain things that, like, it's a big, weird, crazy sized box that's going to California. And I'm like, it's way cheaper UPS ground, right? So we have this little, like, postal hub place. It's like a private business that does FedEx and UPS.
It's like a mailbox, etc.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah. It's like a local, and this guy's super cool. It's right near our roaster building, right? So it's perfectly convenient for me to, like, drop stuff off for eBay. So I dropped a UPS box. I did a FedEx box, and I did 2 UPS boxes this 1 week. FedEx went out, right? It was right before the Memorial Day weekend, right? But they are open Friday and Saturday, so I was like, surely they'll pick up before that. It was 5 or 6 days, and I went in to drop off another box, and I was like, my UPS stuff has never gotten scanned. He's like, it's still sitting here. My UPS guy will not pick up. He'll drop stuff off. He'll drop off all these Amazon boxes, but he won't take anything with him. So it's crazy because if he claimed it was because his truck was too full, but then the guy who runs the store was like, he's supposed to come back around, like, on his way back up to, like...
Come back when you're empty.
Yeah, right? Because he's like, I'm an official, like, drop-off place, right? So that is just to say, USPS will do things like keep something in the warehouse for a month, and you're like, surely this is lost. But then private companies like UPS or FedEx, and I've had them do this to me when I request a pickup for, like, an Amazon return. They're just weather delay, and you're like, it's like 70 degrees and sunny out right now, but they just whatever. So there's no good.
I think that's why the whole thing about the post office is a disaster. We need to go private.
Like, UPS didn't pick up for 5 days.
I feel like to run a shipping company must be so difficult because of so many hands have to touch things. Even if you get computers and scanners and it just get electric robots, it's like it's a lot, until they make something where you put the box on your porch and it, like, flies away on its own directly to the person. It's going to be difficult. So.
Yeah. So those are the things I've been experiencing. Yeah. And, like you said, people are like, the post office, they're so bad. And I'm like, well, but also, like, the alternative private companies are also doing those things. So you're like, is it any better?
And I don't want to drag this out too long, but I mean, I also feel like the couple of times we've had something break, like going on FedEx, it's almost impossible.
Yeah, they're like, we're not going to cover any of that
because they just refuse to. They're like, it's your fault.
Yeah, like, what?
You did not pack this correctly.
Right, exactly. I've never been able to get a claim from them.
Yep. Okay, and then just the other thing, I will continue to talk about this because it is so frustrating, but it's just the cost of doing business, and, it is just what it is. Yeah, we had 3 items purchased this week and canceled.
Yep.
And I think it just hurts because, when your sales are a little bit, like, we're not big Amazon sellers, like, I sold 300 things in an hour, It's like, no, it's like, we're small eBayers, like 5 things a day. So when someone buys a cool item for a good amount of money,
and then immediately
and
ask
then they
to
email
cancel.
And they're like, my daughter bought this, you gotta cancel. I bought this by accident.
Okay. Oh no, the one I love is they bought and paid for it by accident. You're like, you bought it and you went through the whole process of paying for it by accident. Wow.
Anyway, it's just
that happens several times.
It seems like it's becoming more common, but I guess I got to see the positive. Maybe eBay is making it easier for people to buy things, and so there's mistakes are going to happen. But
one of them I think was something we've done. Like we said, they got an offer,
right?
But it was on an offer from us of something they are also selling that they're probably watching.
Right. They thought like we wanted to buy something. Yeah. When really we were selling.
He's like, I accepted your offer, but I didn't realize you were trying to sell them to me, which I understood. I was like, that's fine. Yeah. But then that other guy was like, he was like very detailed. He was like, the person who bought this is not even old enough to hold a job and make money. Like, it was very specific.
But it was like this cool mid-century, what was like a nutcracker.
Yeah, I was like, oh right, it was like this like Swedish hand-carved nutcracker.
I'm like, what 14-year-old is that?
I don't know.
Okay, let's go to the calls or a message that people sent in.
Okay, you can call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. Or you can email us an audio file. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. You may be aware of what I'm calling about, but I learned something new this past week, and I thought I'd share it. I recently sold a Samsung watch to someone in Brazil, and I shipped it through the eBay Global Shipping Program. Then a couple weeks later, the buyer contacted me, said he didn't receive the watch and he wanted a refund. So I went to the seller hub to check the tracking, and it stated the item had been delivered and a person had signed for it, so I wasn't worried. But I wanted to send the buyer a tracking number and URL since I can't send him a link to my seller hub. So I copied the tracking number, went to the USPS site, and put the tracking code in there, and it didn't work. So I went back to the seller hub and displayed that tracking information again and saw there were 3 tracking numbers there. One was for USPS, which is what the tracking from my house to the eBay GSP center in Kentucky. And a second was a DHL tracking number that eBay used to send it to Brazil. And then there was a third tracking number, which was the global tracking number. And that global number shows all the tracking for all the carriers. So since I wanted to send this person a link to the tracking information, I did a Google search for eBay Global Shipping Tracking, and I found a site. When I pasted that global tracking code into there, it provided all of the tracking, for the entire shipment from my house all the way to Brazil. And so I could tell you the URL for the eBay Global Shipping Tracking site, but it'd probably be better if you just Googled it if you're interested. And I don't think eBay owns that site. I think it's an overall global shipping tracking site for many different types of companies. And eBay has one page that's branded for them. But I thought that was interesting. I wasn't aware this was a feature. Thanks.
Okay, you're right. So for global shipping, it seems there are 3 numbers when you look at tracking. There's the USPS tracking from your house to the global shipping center in Kentucky. And then there's an overall number. It's like, it looks totally different. It's like an eBay number. And then there's the tracking number for the carrier that they use to get it in the other country. Sometimes I've just clicked on that and given that, it's like you said, given the person like, oh, this is DHL or this is FedEx in Australia or whatever. But then it sounds like you Googled a site where you could put that special eBay number in and it just gives you all the tracking, which is kind of helpful. So I have to look that up. Maybe we can discuss it on the forum, because sometimes, I've had global shipping people be like, when's this coming, or is it delayed? And they can't really see, maybe they can't see or don't know how to see the tracking on their side. So that's actually super helpful.
Hi there. I hope you guys had a good sales week. I was just calling to talk to you about time away, and hopefully maybe you guys could chat about it a little bit. I've had some frustration with it. This is maybe the second or third time I've used it. And the first time I used it, I set the time away so that the day that I was actually going to be back in town was the day that I would be arriving. But that was like this expected ship day rather than, I'm back, so now my sales are open and I need to ship next day. So I had a few dings, not that many, but a few dings on late shipment. So this time I left on a Sunday and came back on a Wednesday. So I, on Saturday morning, set my time away to be Sunday through Wednesday, thinking that when somebody purchased an item on Saturday, they would be alerted that this seller would be away Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so that I wouldn't be expected to ship on Monday, and I would be able to ship when I got back. But again, I got a ding for overdue shipping because I didn't do next day because I set my time away for Sunday to Wednesday. So hopefully that's not too confusing, but any sort of conversation you could have about time away might be helpful for people. And it is tricky to figure out what days, you're considered away. I try to minimize the days that it sounds like I'm away. But I guess both times I've gotten kind of, in trouble for not understanding exactly what they mean. So any conversation you have about that, or maybe it'll just be helpful for your listeners, that would be much appreciated. So wonderful. I hope you had a great week, and talk to you soon.
So we are actually going to be going out of town
in July
next month, and this is the first time in a year and a half, and so we have not traveled since they started the time away.
Yeah, so I have to figure it out myself.
Although, I don't know. I mean, we've always, not always, but we learned to just change our handling time.
Right.
And that was the solution,
Can I do that still? Yeah, probably.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, but then the time away gives them a message.
So, if, for instance, we're going to be away for 2 weeks, and normally we just change our handling time to however long. The problem we had said was then you can't say I'm going to be back on this day, and eBay would dynamically change your
handling time.
Ryan will, while we're gone, it would have to spend whatever
time.
Half an hour,
changing
handling time every 5 days, or however.
Home away. Time away sounds like that was the solution. I just have no idea how to tell it
now. If I'm understanding, her problem is that she would say she's back too soon. Something we learned, if we come back on a Saturday, we don't tell people we come back on a Saturday. Tell people you're coming back on a Tuesday.
Yeah, so you have that time.
You come back on Saturday, and then you have got 3 days to unpack your stuff, kind of get back in the swing of things, and then pack your stuff.
Now, my understanding with time away also is your sales are not shut down anyway. So unless you tell them to be, if you are like, hey, I'm actually touching down at my house Sunday night, you're not going to ship Sunday night. You're probably going to ship Monday. So say you're back Monday, but you should be getting sale. If your sales are open, you should be able to get those sales. Yeah. Maybe she just means a drop-in search because you're away.
Our thing is we just want to be selling items while we're on
no matter what,
vacation or traveling, and we just communicate with buyers and say it's going to be delayed. It says that the long handling time when they buy the item, so it's all on the up and up. And if people say, well, I need it tomorrow, we just cancel it. Most people, especially for our kind of weird items, do not care.
Yeah, most people, I think our metric was 10% of people were like, oh, I bought this for a present for next week, and you're like, sorry.
1 in 10 people cancel.
So that's not bad. I mean, that has been good. Yeah. Hopefully that's true still. So that's it for calls this week.
So let's do some coffee talk specifically.
Yes.
Because it's a big part of our lives right now, so it's good for us to document that. We have been having some scavengers come to our coffee shop, which is very nice. Although they'll either email us afterwards or they'll email us right before they show up. I mean, we're not in the coffee shop all the time. So I hope people know that we can't just be there and meet them. But it seems like people send us photos of being in there. And, we hope if you live nearby or if you're driving through,
you should stop
Our town is a fun little cute town. There's the Caverns, which is
huge
popular,
draw. Millions of people go there every year.
International, weird little cool hole in the ground. If you like hiking, lots of hiking around here, and also there's a river, the Shenandoah, that goes through our county, and you can rent canoes and kayaks.
It is a vacation paradise.
And then, our coffee shop is fun. You can see the tiles we put on and the mural.
Yeah.
And,
But like Jay said, I mean, we're running around doing stuff.
Yeah.
We do the grocery runs, every few days. That's a lot of stuff. We roast twice a week. So
we'll see Phil and Jill there because they are there every day, and they are like rock stars. So you can say hi to them.
If you're coming through town, definitely stop by.
And thank you for everyone that's been buying coffee and leaving a note for Phil. I think he was very humbled. He was like, why is everyone like saying hi to me? Like, who are these people? I told him, because you didn't believe
that these were scavengers.
He was like, I didn't say that.
Like, see that voice you mean?
Well, I didn't say that.
I know they're out there. There's a ton of them.
I mean, whatever, but it could be somebody else.
Okay, so scavengers, please leave a note. Tell us you're a trash elf.
Yeah.
Tell us you're a scavenger.
And if you want to support us, buying coffee is the best thing, and then you get delicious
coffee,
handcrafted coffee,
roasted by me.
Yeah, right.
Okay, this podcast is ending in 3, 2, 1. Bye.